everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 41. Now, for those of you wondering why there wasn't a podcast last week, I did post about kind of what had happened over on Twitter, but I know not everybody follows me on Twitter, so I guess to catch you guys up, basically, I do want to say it was a Thursday evening. I had just been editing all sorts of videos, I was working on stuff, there was things in progress, and at some point, I left the house, went to the store, and when I came back, I noticed that my computer was off. And I thought that was really weird because, I had been working on things, I hadn't turned it off, and so I'm trying to, power the computer back on, and I noticed that it won't respond. It's just totally unresponsive. I open the computer up, I try to see if there's anything that looks like it's messed up, everything looks fine. I do notice that it's very dirty because it's it's a desktop that you can open up and, I guess you're supposed to clean it. And unfortunately I hadn't cleaned it in a while. So I did notice there was a lot of dust in there. So I, try to dust it, get the dust out, try to turn it back on. It was still unresponsive. Sure enough, I talked to a friend of mine who knows about computers, and, he checked it out. He kind of, told me what he thought was the diagnosis or whatever. And he says, yeah, based on the fact that you cleaned it and it still won't turn on, based on the fact that it's super unresponsive, I think your motherboard got fried. I think basically it was probably, really heated up because of how I had been using it all day. That combined with the fact that I hadn't really cleaned it in a while. I don't know. I guess that just super screwed up the internal fan or something. And yeah, I guess it overheated and the motherboard got fried. So what I ended up doing is I ended up pulling out the hard drive out of my old desktop, bought some little cables on Amazon that allow you to connect it to any other computer and have it recognized as an external hard drive. And yeah, basically, didn't get around to doing a podcast last week or really making any videos because of how, my computer was out of commission. But now, that I have those cables, I've attached my external hard drive to my, laptop that I usually use for work. And yeah, at least I have access to my files now. I'm going to try to see about getting back to work. And yeah, that's why I'm trying to record the podcast this week because I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. Unfortunately, yeah, this laptop, it is a little bit cheaper in quality. I don't even think it has the same type of sound chip or whatever you want to call it. So if the podcast sounds different, that's another thing. You know why, because, the settings on this are different. The sound just isn't the same, that sort of thing. But regardless, like I said, I'm trying to get back on track. I'm trying to do what I can. And yeah, hopefully, soon I buy a new PC. So we'll have to see how that goes. But that aside, just want to take a moment to kind of explain why there wasn't a podcast last week. Kind of wanted to explain why there hasn't been any videos lately, in case you've been wondering. But yeah, with that out of the way, I do have, a few things that I did last week I want to talk about. I'll combine it with this week's stuff. And also, I had a few news stories I want to talk about. Some, maybe they weren't that interesting, so I kind of dropped them from the docket. Some I did, push together with this week, so you'll see what I mean. It's just kind of a combination of stuff. So, yeah, with that being said, I guess I'll transfer over to my week so I can talk about, what I've been doing since the last time you guys heard from me. And yeah, the first thing I want to talk about, as always, watched quite a bit of anime. And yeah, sure enough, the first show I want to talk about is that I finally finished watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. And overall, the main character, he doesn't really have that much going on. And I don't know, the pacing is kind of weird, I feel like it did take forever to get through the season because of, recap episodes, that sort of thing. But still, overall, I really enjoyed part 5. I thought it was really, interesting with the fights and some of the characters and their abilities and stuff. That stuff was really cool. And yeah, just lots of, as in call it fan service, if you've read the manga, the way they really brought to life some of the stuff like the torture dance and the 7-page beatdown and stuff like that, the way they transfer that over into an anime, I thought it was really good. So that was really fun. So overall, I've said it before, when I first talked about the show for the first time, it is kind of a hard sell trying to tell someone to watch JoJo if they've never watched it. But yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, like in general, I think it's an awesome show. I think the fact that each season focuses like on a different person, in the bloodline, and, each season has like a different setting and characters. I think that's really cool. And yeah, part 5, like I said, maybe not the strongest out of the series, but I still thought it was really fun. I still thought there was a lot that was, worth watching. So I do recommend it, quite highly. So if you haven't watched JoJo before, maybe, get started, get caught up. And yeah, part 5, it's a definite thumbs up for me. So there you go. This is one that I had talked about quite a while ago. It's called Vinland Saga. And yeah, in case you missed it, or in case you don't remember, Vinland Saga is the anime about Vikings, basically. It's this anime where, there's this guy, his name's Thors, and he's this guy that, back in the old days, he was this, like, killing machine. He can take down whole fleets, basically. However, for whatever reason, he gets tired of the warrior lifestyle. And so he fakes his death, moves to some sort of little, someplace somewhere, and he just dedicates himself to his family. And like almost nobody knows about his past. Basically, when the series starts, people know that he's faked his death and they want him back. And they say that they're willing to forgive, his betrayal or whatever, him, running away, because they really need him in their fight against, I think it was like England or something like that. And so, before I had covered the first 3 episodes, because for whatever reason, they dropped 3 episodes all at once, and then they took a bit of a hiatus and now they're back. And so the first 3 episodes, I thought they were really good. I thought the premise of this like warrior being drawn back into battle, even though he doesn't want to, I thought that was really interesting. Sure enough, the season's back now, and yeah, every episode since then has been really good. I don't want to spoil it, but basically the place the story goes is really unexpected. It does a thing where it's like, oh, I thought it was going to be about this, but it kind of takes like a sharp 90-degree turn into something else. But regardless, I think the series is really good so far. I think the setting and focusing on Vikings is like really unique. I don't think I've ever really seen that in anime before. And I don't know, I just think like the story and like the art and like the music, like everything is just so good. It's really top tier. And I like that it's one of those anime that, although I enjoy anime that is like your standard anime with like tropes and, like weird Japanese humor, like that sort of thing, I also really enjoy anime that, like, apart from the art style, it doesn't feel like anime. Like anime that just feels like very like mature, and it feels very not focused on like Japanese lifestyles and stuff, like I enjoy that. And so yeah, definitely if you're looking for something a little bit different, if you're looking for a cool show about Vikings and fighting and redemption and revenge and I don't know, all sorts of stuff like that, I definitely recommend this anime. The bad thing is that I do believe it's an Amazon exclusive, I think. And so that's why it's kind of hard to track down. But if you can find it online somewhere, there's all sorts of places you can find it, you know what I mean? Then I suggest, giving it a shot. Because I think it's a really good anime. I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I recommend it. So there you go. Moving on, the last anime that I want to talk about that I really got into watching lately is Attack on Titan. Basically the way it works, back when the first season came out, I was all over it. I watched it from beginning to end. I was excited for more when first season ended. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it took like 4 years for season 2 to come out. And I started watching season 2. I want to say I got like an episode or 2 in. And I don't know, I just felt like the pacing was kind of slow. Wasn't really interested in the show at that point because it had been so long and there was a bunch of other stuff coming out. So, I fell off the show pretty hard. And, so season 2 came out, season 3 part 1 came out, season 3 part 2 came out, and I never bothered to catch up. However, not that long ago, I heard people talking about some stuff from season 3, and I saw people getting like really excited about season 3 and saying it was like a really good like return, for the series. Like they felt it was like, gearing up and, stuff like that. And so I got really interested because, I heard some really good stuff about it. And so sure enough, I sat down, decided I was going to watch it from the beginning, all the way to like the current stuff that's out so that I wouldn't miss any details. And yeah, I'm so glad I went back because I think the show's really good, Like season 1, I always thought was good. Season 2, I kind of have fallen off because I felt like the pacing was a bit weird. But, the second time around, if you just stick with it, I think there's some really good stuff there, Like I feel like there's a lot of build-up and stuff that kind of pays off later in the season and beyond. And season 3, I don't want to spoil it, but I think the stuff they do in season 3 is really interesting. Like, I don't know. I guess the best way to describe it, Attack on Titan basically started as like the equivalent of like a zombie, series where it's, humanity versus monsters that attack people, blah, blah, blah. And along the way, I think it's so interesting how it became more than that. Instead of it just being this show about humanity's struggles against these creatures and trying to survive, I think it's interesting how, they've thrown the government into it. There's like a whole conspiracy of the government hiding things about the world. They've introduced people who are weaponizing the Titans. That's really interesting. They've introduced characters that themselves can transform into Titans and like use that to cause destruction. They've introduced magic of all things, which I know I'm not gonna go too much into it. But yeah, they basically have like magic involved now and it works in like a really interesting way. It's like, that's really cool. And I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe without really getting too in depth into it. But basically, I'm glad I came back because, like I said, I had fallen off and I wasn't really sure if I would be interested in coming back to the series. But, after hearing some interesting stuff, checked it all out, and I'm glad I did because I'm definitely excited for season 4. I'm definitely excited to see how this ends, since season 4 is supposed to be like the ending or whatever. Because yeah, the story's really interesting. And some of the stuff they're doing, like, I don't know. I just think it's really cool. So if you haven't watched Attack on Titan, I think right now is a good time to get into it, before season 4 comes out, either like next year or the year after or whatever. And if you have watched Attack on Titan, but, same as me, you had to kind of fallen off of it, I can't recommend it enough. I say, just get into it as, it progresses. I think you will enjoy what the story is doing. So yeah, there you have it. Attack on Titan, got back into it. I'm up to date. And yeah, I might do a review on it. I think that'd be really interesting and I recommend it. So there you go. Moving on to video games, I guess you call it Hero. That's what they're calling the character, even though it's like a set of 4 characters, technically. But yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they released their second DLC character, which is Hero, which is like an assortment of characters from Dragon Quest, basically. And so I dove back into, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, tried Hero out, and yeah, he's definitely an interesting character. Like, I don't think he's my character, I don't really like him as much as, let's say, like, Joker or whatever. Like, the gameplay just doesn't really appeal to me too much, but he definitely has some very interesting things going on. Like if you didn't watch the little Nintendo Direct style thing, or if you don't have the game and have tried it yourself, what makes Hero interesting is that, first of all, like I said, it's basically 4 different characters from 4 different, Dragon Quest games, and each of them has like one alternate costume, basically. So, that's pretty cool because, you can choose from like Dragon Quest XI's Hero, Dragon Quest, I think like 8's Hero, that sort of thing. So, like, that's pretty cool. And then what makes Hero special, gameplay-wise, his attacks are pretty normal. He uses a sword and shield, it's fine. But when you press his down B, it basically pulls up a menu of 4 different like spells. And each time you do it, it's random. And the spells take, magic points. And yeah, it's just all sorts of crazy spells that give you like different buffs, basically, or attacks. Like, like you press down B, you might get, I'm forgetting what all the moves are called, but like there's a spell that makes you faster. There's a spell that gives you higher defense. There's a spell that, is like a projectile. There's a spell where he basically self-destructs. Like, it's just really cool because, every time you pull up that little menu, it's 4 different spells you can choose from. You use one if you, have enough MP. And yeah, it really shakes up the game and makes it interesting. I know a lot of people were disappointed when they first saw the gameplay for him. A lot of people were saying like, oh, he feels too overpowered, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think so. I think it still takes skill to use him, especially because, using the spells and pulling up the menu and stuff does leave you open for attack. But I don't know. I think overall he is a very interesting character. I think the way that they really try to shake things up with him and not just make him like a, sword using RPG character, like the way he has these spells he has to use and you have to use MP and like all that stuff. I think that's really interesting. And yeah, even though he's not my type of character, even though I don't really see myself using him, I'm glad to have him in the cast. I think he's a nice addition. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to see who else joins the DLC cast. Because, Banjo and Kazooie are supposed to come out in the fall. They did announce that a while back. But yeah, we still have no idea who the other two characters are going to be. So I'm just keeping an eye out for that. I'm excited. And yeah, if you haven't tried the hero yet and you do have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'd say go check him out. I think he is a really fun character. So yeah. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about, and yeah, this is kind of a fun one because it's something I've been working on for like the last couple of weeks, honestly. Basically, if you guys remember, it might have been like a few months at this point, but quite a while back, I covered a story about the PlayStation Classic. And basically the PlayStation Classic, kind of like the Super Nintendo Classic and the Nintendo Classic or whatever, basically they're like these little mini consoles that they preload, a certain amount of games onto them, and you can connect it with HDMI to like your TV, and you can play retro games. And in the story that I covered, it was basically about how the PlayStation Classic, a lot of people felt it was a ripoff, because like number one, even though it was like really expensive, like I don't even remember how much it cost in the past, but even though it was pretty pricey, it only had 20 games on it. And some of them are games that people didn't even really care for. So like that was one. Number two, a lot of people were mad because apparently some of the games weren't even optimized. I think I remember people were trying to play like Final Fantasy VII, and I think it was like really laggy and like the music wasn't even coming out, that sort of thing. So that's number two. And number three, kind of, piggybacking off of number two, people discovered that it wasn't even like, unlike the Nintendo systems where they seem like they made like a whole like new system basically to play these games correctly. Basically, people discovered that it's basically just an emulator wrapped around a plastic PlayStation 1 looking box. So like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but basically, I'm just going off of memory. But basically, it seemed like it wasn't worth it. People were mad, etc. My uncle, he kind of told me about, he had seen a way to hack the PlayStation Classic to get its full potential. And, I was interested in that because I think being able to hack it to its full potential and being able to put games on there, I think that sounded like it was worth it. And so I looked it up and yeah, I was able to get a PlayStation Classic for like $23. And sure enough, I ordered a PlayStation Classic. I found a way to hack it. I just soft modded it, added some files to it. And right now, I'm currently able to play any game that I want off of a USB stick if I plug it into the PlayStation Classic. So, during the last couple of weeks, I've played stuff like, I tried out like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I played a little bit of Parasite Eve, the first one. I was playing a little bit of Jammer Lammy, which is, like a spin-off to the Parappa the Rappa series. I was playing a little bit of Persona 2 because the PlayStation 1, they have the original Persona and then two Persona 2 games, like for whatever reason split in two, the second game. But I've been playing a little bit of Persona 2 and yeah, it's just been a really good time. Just being able to play whatever game I want off the PlayStation Classic. That's been awesome. And not only that, but yeah, when you hack it, it seems like it takes like its full potential, I guess. Because I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen any issues with it. Like I haven't seen any lagging or, any stuttering with the music or anything. It looks like everything's running fine. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I've just been having a blast playing with the PlayStation Classic and just trying out all these PlayStation 1 games. So yeah, if you can get your hands on a PlayStation Classic for like cheap on, eBay or Amazon, or I know Best Buy had a sale on them not too long ago. If you can get your hands on one, I definitely say go for it. And then just look up this thing called, I think it's like Bleem Sync or something like that. Like if you look up Bleem Sync for PlayStation 1, yeah, that's how you soft mod it. And basically you're able to play any game you want off of it. So I've been having fun with that. I think it's really cool. And like I said, I think that really makes the PlayStation Classic worth it. So yeah. Alrighty guys, and with that being said, that brings me to the end of my week. As you can see, watched lots of anime, played all sorts of stuff, on my PlayStation 1 Classic, that sort of thing. However, at the same time, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I did spend a lot of time worrying about my PC and trying to get a hold of my files, that sort of thing. So, hopefully next week's a little better. We'll see how it goes. But until then, though, I think we should transfer over to the news week. And like I said, you're going to see that's going to be mixed with some old stuff and new stuff. But, hopefully you guys enjoy the news nonetheless. So, the first news story that I want to talk about is, as the title of the article states, Travis Strikes Again launches worldwide on PS4 in October, Suda51 looking into series re-releases. So basically the story is kind of a two-parter, even though it's pretty short, Basically the first part is that Travis Strikes Again, which is the Switch, No More Heroes, that if you've seen my channel, I did do a little review on it. Basically, even though it was only like a Switch exclusive up to now, it seems like it is going to launch on PS4 October 17th. So I think that's pretty cool. I think the more people that play it, I think that's nice. And I know that, they have released No More Heroes. I want to say it was No More Heroes 1, I want to say. They have released it in the past on PS3. So, I would think that there's some people who are interested in playing it on their PS4. So I think that's really cool. And the second part of the story is that not only is the game going to be, launched on the PS4, but, they asked Suda51, like, okay, it's cool, but, what about those old entries? Have you thought about releasing them on the Switch? That way everybody on the Switch can have, No More Heroes 1, No More Heroes 2, the spin-off, and No More Heroes 3 when it comes out. And I like that, unlike other game developers and stuff, other, game developers, they kind of like walk around the question, they don't really answer it, they kind of just give a generic answer. I like that Suda51 literally just said, yes, we're currently in talks with Marvelous to make that happen. It's a positive consideration, so I hope we'll be able to make a good announcement. So yeah, there you go. I think it's cool that he just answered it so straightforward. And I don't know. Even though they haven't really announced anything yet, I think it's cool that he says that it seems like they're going for it. So hopefully, either right before No More Heroes 3 comes out next year, or I don't know, maybe even if it's a little bit after, if we can get re-releases of those first two games, I think that'd be awesome. Because, I don't know about any of you, but I'm a big No More Heroes fan. I love the series. And I think having all of the games on one system, I think that'd be really cool, Not only to, have them, but I wouldn't mind replaying them, I think they're a really fun series. So, there you go. Next up on the docket, this is also a news story from last week, but as the title of the article states, The Good Life delayed to spring 2020. So I don't know how many of you know, but The Good Life, basically it's by the same guy who made stuff like Deadly Premonition and Dark Dreams Don't Die, little kind of niche games like that. And, he had a Kickstarter not that long back, and it was for The Good Life. And The Good Life, basically, it's supposed to be this game where basically you play as this, I don't remember if she's a reporter or a photographer, actually. I'll have to, relook that up. But you play as a character, and basically she's in this small town, and I do know she takes pictures, and I guess she has a lot of debt, and so she has to repay her debt before she can leave. And as she's, just trying to spend time in the little village, and she's trying to take pictures to make money, and do little errands and stuff like that, I guess a murder occurs. She literally goes into the woods, and she finds this girl impaled on a sword, in a little body of water. And so it's going to be this really interesting game where it's part life simulator where you have, jobs you have to do, you pay off her debt, you can feed her, that sort of thing. But it's also going to be part mystery, thriller, where you're trying to investigate to see who did the murder. But then it also has a supernatural element to it, where apparently the town is hiding some sort of secret, where for whatever reason, I think when there's like a full moon or something like that, all of the residents and, our playable character, they can either transform into like cats or dogs, and they can use that to like kind of explore the world. So it's really weird to describe, but that makes sense because the guy behind the game, Swery, he's just like this crazy, like really out there guy. But yeah, it's just this really interesting like life simulator / like mystery thriller thing / supernatural, adventure sort of thing. And I don't know. When I saw about this game, I got really excited. I think it seems really cool. And basically tying that back to the article, it was supposed to originally come out supposedly in late 2019. Like that's what they had said, that they were going to try to, have it come out or whatever. But, if you read the story and if you kind of, keep up with the game, it looks like they've had a total visual overhaul. And I guess with all of like the Kickstarter money that they got, I guess they're trying to add extra stuff to it. So yeah, it's been pushed back to spring 2020. So, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's fine. I think that, if they're taking the extra time to like polish the game and add stuff to it, I think that's awesome. But yeah, if you have any love for any of like Swery's games like Deadly Premonition or Dark Dreams Don't Die, that sort of thing, I say, keep an eye out for this. I say get excited. And yeah, only time will tell if it ends up being a good game. But for now, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this. And like I said, if you're a fan of the series or if anything that I've said has interested you, then yeah, keep an eye out for it and hopefully you get to play it when it comes out. So yeah. Alrighty, moving on to another like Kickstarter / crowdfunded game sort of thing. My next article, as the title of the article states, Indivisible launches October 8th in North America, October 11th in Europe for PS4, Xbox One and PC, later in 2019 for Switch. Now, once again, I don't know how many of you know about this game, but basically, this title, it's made by the people who made Skullgirls, which is like a really cool little fighting game. The studio's called Lab Zero Games, and basically Indivisible, it's this game where you play as this girl that I guess she's like on this sort of adventure, and it's like a turn-based like RPG sort of thing, and she has some sort of ability to like collect like spirits, and she can basically use them in battle, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm trying to scroll down. I'll read like the little description / overview of the game. But yeah, it says, created by Lab Zero Games, the developers behind the millions plus selling cult favorite fighting game Skullgirls, Indivisible features ultra rare, real-time party fighter mechanics. Spanning a fantastical world with dozens of playable characters, a rich storytelling experience, and gameplay that's easy to learn but difficult to master, Indivisible revolves around, I want to say her name's Ajna? She has a foreign name, sorry, but it's Ajna. Ajna, a good-natured tomboy with a rebellious streak. Raised by her father on the outskirts of the rural town, her life is thrown into chaos when her home is attacked and a mysterious power awakens within her. The game's huge fantasy world, characters, and aesthetic design are inspired by various cultures and mythologies. Throughout Ajna's quest, she'll encounter many incarnations, people she can absorb into herself and manifest to fight alongside her. There are many incarnations to recruit, each with their own story and personality. By uniting people from faraway lands, Ajna will learn about herself, the world she inhabits, and most importantly, how to save it. So yeah, guys, I don't know if any of that sounds interesting to you, but it looks really cool. I think it looks like it's going to be a really fun game. I think, the turn-based, it's not really turn-based. I guess as it describes it, it's more of a real-time fighter party strategy thing. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but if you look it up, I think it looks really cool. I think the art for it is really nice. And I don't know, like I said, I'm excited for it. I've been waiting for this game for a while. So yeah, the fact that there's a release date, I think that's really exciting. And yeah, if anything that sounds interesting, I'd say check it out. Link will be in the description below so you can look at the details and like the little bit of gameplay they posted, that sort of thing. But I'm excited. I think this game's gonna be fun. I can't wait for it to come out. And yeah, if it sounds cool to you too, then, keep an eye out for it. Moving on, this last video game news story has to do with more stuff about Pokemon. I know that people, a lot of people are upset about quite a few things about the new Pokemon, honestly. Whether it's, the national dex going away, or whether it's some of the animations, people feel they're really cheap. Whether it's, I don't know. You could look into it, but I know there's all sorts of issues that people have with the new Pokemon games, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Some of them, I guess I don't even blame them. Like, I do agree these kind of are issues. But all the same, though, they released some new info about the game earlier this week. I want to say it was like a few days ago. And I don't know, guys, even though the game does have issues, I still think that what they're bringing forward, like everything I've seen, I'm still excited for the game. And I still think that they're doing some really cool stuff, So basically, tying that back into the article, as the title of the article states, Pokemon Sword and Shield details Galarian Form Pokemon, form-changing Pokemon, new rivals, and Pokejobs. So yeah, starting, going down the article or whatever, similar to a Alolan Form Pokemon or whatever, where they take, Gen 1 classics and they kind of give them a different appearance based on like the new region. If you look through the article, the first one they mention is Galarian Weezing. And basically, I think it looks cool. I think it's a funny look. Basically, the Galarian form of Weezing, it's like this weird, it looks like it has like a little top hat, and each top hat is like blowing out steam or smoke or whatever. And also each of the little Weezings, they look like they have like a little mustache, which is really cool. So I don't know. I think that looks really cool. I think it looks funny. Seeing a little, dapper Weezing, I think that's fun. So like I said, I think that's really cool. Moving on, they also revealed a Galarian form of Zigzagoon, and basically the way it works is that it's black and white, and around its eyes, it has like these star-shaped patterns. Like, I guess the best way to explain it is, if you've ever seen that band Kiss, and you see how they like paint their faces, they have like black and white paint, it basically looks like that. And so I think that's really fun. I think Galarian Linoon or Linoon, whatever you call it, I think it looks better too. I think it looks more interesting. And they also reveal that there's going to be an evolution for Linoon, because I don't think there was one before from what I remember, and it's called Obstagoon. And basically, it has the same aesthetic where it's black and white, but it also it's standing on its hind legs, and so it's kind of has its arms crossed. It kind of looks like a little bit of a hooligan, and it's called the blocking Pokemon, and apparently it's this Pokemon that like taunts enemies into attacking it, and then when they attack it, it just blocks the attack, and I think it counterattacks or whatever. So I think that looks really fun. So Galarian style Pokemon, I think they look fun. I really like it. When it comes to rivals, they introduced, I want to say his name is Bede. It's Bede. Bede or Bed or whatever. And basically, he's this smug looking kid with like curly hair, Like I know a lot of people have been asking for like a smug / like jerk style rival for a while now. Kind of like in the first couple of, generations. And you look at his face and it's definitely punchable. It definitely looks like he's going to be really smug and stuff. So I think that's really fun. It doesn't stop there though. Not only was there that original rival Hop, and not only have they introduced Bede or Bed or whatever his name is, but they introduced another rival, and her name is Marnie. And what makes her look cool is that she kind of has like this like punk / kind of goth look to her, Like, I think that's really cool. I think her design's really awesome. And with her, she's followed around by Team Yell. And basically they're these like punk looking kids with like spiky hair and a bunch of like, spike bracelets and, stuff like that. And basically they're like her fanboys that want her to make it to champion. And so there's like a lot of screenshots where it shows that, it shows them in battle. And there's stuff where it shows that they're just standing there rooting her on while she's battling. Like there's a pretty cool screenshot where one guy has like a little, I don't know what you would call it, but like a little speaker horn. And I guess he's cheering for her. And another one just has a body pillow of Marnie, which I think is really fun. So I don't know. All that stuff, I think looks really cool. I'm looking forward to it. And finally, the last thing that they talked about is that I guess they're going to have these things called Pokejobs that are supposed to help your Pokemon grow, apparently. Because, I mean, I know in other games they've had stuff like, mechanics where you can, like, pet your Pokemon and play with them and give them food or whatever to, like, help them, level up or whatever. Here, it looks like they're going to have, like, different jobs you can do. And when you do, your Pokemon level up and stuff. So that's going to be interesting. I think it's kind of cool. As someone who's played Digimon Cyber Sleuth quite a bit lately, that kind of reminds me of when you leave them on the island and you can have them like investigate or train or, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think that's really cool. So as I said, there's a lot of information, definitely. The link will be in the description below so you can read about it yourself. And I don't know, even though a lot of people have kind of fallen off of Pokemon, and I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with these new games that are going to come out, and a lot of people are saying they're not going to buy it. I've always been excited for it. I think everything I've seen, looks really cool. I think all of the stuff I mentioned right now, it gets me really excited. I think that's really fun stuff. So if you don't want to buy it, I get it. But personally, I am going to buy the game because I think it looks fun. So there you go. Alrighty, transferring over to movie news. This is a pretty short story. I wouldn't really say there's too much to it, but as the title of the article states, Venom 2 officially sets Andy Serkis to direct. So, like I said, not really much to say. Basically, after the first Venom movie, they had said they were going to look for new, not cast, like a new crew, I guess you can say. Like the director, they didn't want to bring him back. They wanted someone else. And I think they were going to also switch up like script writers, that sort of thing. And yeah, there had been a few rumors that Andy Serkis might direct. And, as the article states, yeah, it's official now. He's going to direct Venom 2. Personally, I don't know. I think that's a good thing, I guess, because I do think the first Venom movie, it was very badly written and the direction wasn't that great. It felt very thrown together. But I do think that all the parts with Tom Hardy and Venom were really fun. And I did have fun watching it overall because of the bromance / buddy cop comedy sort of vibe it had. So I don't know. I think it having a new director, I definitely think that's a good thing. I don't know anything about Andy Serkis as a director. I've never watched anything that he's made. I know he's a good actor, all of the work he puts in to stuff like Planet of the Apes and his part as Golem and stuff. I know he's a good actor, but yeah, I don't know at all if he's a good director, but I don't know. Hopefully he does a good job with this. Hopefully he takes it in a good direction that, fixes a lot of the problems that the first movie had. And I don't know. If they can keep the fun stuff from the first one of those Venom / Eddie Brock interactions and, maybe with the new director who can bring some style to it, some substance, that sort of thing. I don't know. Hopefully it's a good movie, but I guess only time will tell. Moving on, this next news story is kind of an old one at this point, but it's still something I wanted to touch upon because, I don't know, I just think it's really sad, and it's something that, I don't know, I just really want to talk about it because I think it's kind of important, so to speak. And as the title of the article states, Minnie Mouse and the Simpsons Martin's Prince voice actor, Russi Taylor, dies at 75. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, for the last 30 years, I believe, Minnie Mouse was voiced by somebody called Russi Taylor. And yeah, Russi Taylor was a voice actress that did a lot of voices. She was most famous for Minnie Mouse, but she also voiced Martin Prince on The Simpsons. I think it says that she voiced a few characters on DuckTales, My Little Pony, that sort of thing. If you look at her credits or whatever, she's done a lot of voices over the years. And yeah, it's really sad because, she died at 75. And if you read up about her, it's really interesting because she was actually married to a guy who did the voice of Mickey before he died in 2009. So yeah, for a while, the voice actors for Mickey and Minnie were married, which is really sweet. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just really sad because, I don't know. Knowing that husband and wife voiced Mickey and Minnie, that's really cute. And the fact that he died and, she was by herself, that's really sad. And now she's passed on too. And I don't know, I just think it's sad when we lose somebody like that, someone who's just such a big part of culture, You know, I mean, she voiced Minnie Mouse for 30 years. And she voiced, like I said, other characters. So it's definitely someone that, you know, if you've ever watched cartoons and stuff, you've probably heard her voice. And yeah, I mean, she will be missed. So pour one out for the voice of Minnie Mouse. And I don't know, you know, like I said, rest in peace. We're going to miss her, but let's move on. Alrighty, so I wanted to cover this news story last week. There's not really much to say, but I still thought it was a fun news story nonetheless. But apparently Zombieland Saga, which is an anime I talked about, you know, like a season or two back, apparently it's gonna get a sequel season. I think the funniest part of the whole story is that for whatever reason, instead of just being called Zombieland Saga 2 or Zombieland Saga, you know, Season 2 or whatever, it's going to be called Zombieland Saga Revenge, which I don't know why it's called Revenge. That's like so weird, but I don't know. I love Zombieland Saga. I thought it was really fun. I thought the idea of these like zombie girls being idols and the way it kind of pokes fun at the idol industry, but it also kind of had like some, you know, more somber moments about the girls and their, you know, past lives, that sort of thing. I thought it was a really good show. I had a lot of fun watching it. I definitely think the manager guy, he's probably my favorite character in the whole thing. He's just over the top and I don't know, he's just really funny. And so yeah, I mean, seeing the cover image, that's him basically shirtless, just yelling to the heavens, and seeing the title as Zombieland Saga Revenge. I don't know, I mean, I'm excited. I think it looks fun. So if you enjoyed Zombieland Saga, luckily there is a second season coming soon. I don't believe it says when it's coming, but you know, hopefully it comes soon. And if you haven't watched Zombieland Saga, then I recommend it, you know? I think it's really fun, so there you go. My next anime news story, same as the previous one, it's something I want to talk about, you know, last week, and, you know, at this point it's a little bit old. I actually believe the movie's already come out, but all the same, as the title of the article states, Kyoto Animation proceeds with Violet Evergarden Gaiden world premiere. So for anyone who remembers the last time I was on, I was talking about Kyoto Animation. I was talking about how it was really sad. You know, there was that arson, people died. Kyoto Animation basically lost all of their work, you know, because everything went up in flames. And, you know, it's a really somber story, right? Like, it really sucks for Kyoto Animation to have lost so many lives and work and stuff. That's why I wanted to follow up with this story, because I think it's nice that, you know, despite everything, they're, you know, trying to pick themselves back up. And yeah, I mean, the article's all about how, I guess in Germany, they were going to have like a screening of the movie, and it was supposed to happen on August 3rd and 4th. And yeah, I mean, even though they probably could have canceled it or they could have taken some time off, Kyoto Animations basically said like, no, we promised we were going to like release this. We're going to go through with it. And yeah, I mean, I guess they did, you know, I mean, I haven't really seen like a follow-up to the story, but I'm guessing they actually, you know, did it. And I don't know, that's why I wanted to share the story, because I just thought it's really nice that even though they're definitely struggling, like the fact that they're so dedicated and they're picking themselves back up, I thought that was kind of uplifting. And not only that, but you know, I also want to say that Violet Evergarden, it's an awesome series. It's a series that even though I wasn't too warm about it at first, I did grow to really love it. You know, I think it's an awesome series. Like, I think it pulls at the heartstrings, and I think the art is amazing, that sort of thing. And so yeah, seeing that they're going to make a movie of it, and seeing that they're kind of proceeding with, you know, adding more to the series or whatever, I think that's really nice. So, you know, there you go. It's kind of a 2-for-1. Not only am I glad that Kyoto Animation, you know, like I said, is moving forward, but the fact that Violet Evergarden is proceeding, you know, they're adding more to it, I think that's really cool. So, you know, that's why I want to share the story. Like I said, it might be a little old at this point, but there you go. Finally, the last news story that I want to talk about, I mean, I'm not talking about it so much because of what the article talks about. It's more of, I guess, like the title and seeing the picture caught my attention, and like that's what I want to talk about, if that makes sense. But basically, you know, the title of the article, it says, you know, that basically additional voice cast has been announced for a series called Beastars. And, you know, that's all well and good. I mean, I gotta admit, I don't know who any of these voice actors are. So if you do, I mean, maybe you might want to look at that. Maybe there's a voice actor you like who's gonna, you know, play a part. But the part that interested me is that when I saw Beastars and saw the image, I'm like, what is this? And sure enough, apparently Beastars It's an anime about anthropomorphic animals, and the premise sounds really similar to Zootopia, honestly. Like, it says that it's a society where herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores like all live together. And, you know, that gives me Zootopia vibes. However, unlike Zootopia, which is all about, you know, following like a police officer and how she deals with, you know, like a crazy like mystery conspiracy, and she teams up with like a petty criminal or whatever. This one looks like it's going to be like in a high school setting. Basically, it says it's going to be about a character that even though they look like they're big and tough and menacing, they're actually very gentle. And apparently they're a part of like their drama club at school. And it's going to have to do with, I guess, him and his classmates and their experiences. I don't know. I mean, that maybe it's just me, but I think that sounds interesting. It's supposed to come out, I think it says October 2019. So it's definitely coming soon. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. I'm hoping that's a good series. If it's anything like Zootopia, which I think had a really good story, I mean, hopefully it's good. And, you know, likewise, if that sounds interesting to you, then I'd say keep an eye out for it, you know? Like I said, it comes out pretty soon. Hopefully it's good. And yeah, there you go. Alrighty, with that being said, that brings us to the end of another news week. Hopefully, you know, as usual, hopefully there was something that entertained you guys, or something that you guys found informative, something that you guys just heard me talk about that you guys are going to look into yourselves, that sort of thing. I think that even though some of the news stories were a bit old at this point because of how I missed last week, I still felt they were relevant. So, you know, hopefully you guys thought the same thing. And yeah, with that being said, I think it's time to transfer over to the last segment of the podcast, which is the content creator spotlight. And this content creator for this week, even though I haven't been following them for too long, I want to say maybe, you know, like 2 months tops, I discovered them over on Reddit, and I think they have some very interesting content. And yeah, I am of course talking about a small channel currently sitting at 100 subscribers called Zombikittie. And Zombikittie, I think she has some really fun stuff. Basically, she's a gamer, and her bread and butter is that she plays all sorts of like horror indie games. Like honestly, she's played games that I've never even like heard of, you know? Like she played a game called Tube. She played a game called, I believe, The Warden. She played a game called Albion. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these. They're all sorts of little, like, I don't know. I mean, they're like little games. I think she said some of them are from like game jams, where it's, you know, basically people that they get together for a weekend, they make a game for like a little competition, and sometimes they put it online. So, I mean, I think that's really interesting. Other games that she plays, you know, they're games from like Steam that I guess aren't very popular as of yet. Some games are like pre-alpha stuff. Some are just demos, that sort of thing. But that aside, I think she plays a good collection of just indie horror games that I've never heard of. So like, that's really interesting. And I think it's really fun, you know, watching her play those. And yeah, I mean, that's not the only thing she does. She also plays like some Minecraft here and there. She has videos where she talks about Harry Potter's it's that AR game that's kind of like Pokemon Go. It's called Harry Potter's Wizards Unite. I mean, she has some videos where she talks about that. Recently she started playing Kindergarten 2, which I'm not sure if that counts as a horror game. Like, it is pretty like gory and stuff, but I think it's supposed to be more of like a dark like comedy sort of thing. But I mean, she's been playing that, and like that's been really fun to watch. So I don't know, just overall, I think she has a good collection of stuff. I think that what she does is really fun. So Zombikittie, if you're listening to this, I say keep up the good work. I think your selection of videos and what you cover, I think it's really interesting. I think you're doing something that, I don't know, I think it's pretty unique. You know, like I said, I haven't really seen anybody cover these horror games. So I love your horror games that you cover. I love stuff like Kindergarten 2. I think that's really fun. And overall, I just think that you have a really fun channel. And even though you only have 100 subscribers, I think you deserve many more. So keep up the good work. And, you know, I'm excited to see what else you put out. For anyone else that might be listening, as always, show Zombikittie some love. If what I've, you know, talked about sounds interesting, check her out, give her some comments, some likes, maybe even subscribe to her, that sort of thing. And yeah, with that being said, guys, as always, show her some love. And if you do, tell her that Wannabe Reviewer sent you. So there you go. Alrighty, guys, and with that being said, that brings us to the end of another podcast. That is one more in the bag. As usual, hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast, even though it was a little, even though last week I didn't do one, hopefully this week made up for it, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and there was something that you guys got out of it, whether it was me talking about like anime, or the PlayStation Classic, or introducing you to Zombikittie, or talking about one of the many news stories. Hopefully there's something you guys liked out of it. Hopefully it was worth your time. And yeah, to wrap up, as always, my name is Wannabe Reviewer. You can catch me over on social media such as Twitter and Twitch and, Instagram. I know I haven't really posted to any of those or really been on any of them because, I've just been busy with the whole computer thing. But, hopefully, if you guys are interested, follow me over there. And yeah, I will definitely try to be back next week with podcast number 42. Hopefully by then, I can figure out my computer situation or learn more about how to get the audio to the quality I want it, because like I said, I just feel like the audio seems kind of off. I don't know if you guys notice it. And yeah, with that being said, I will try to be back next week. Hopefully in the meantime, you guys have a wonderful week. And yeah, my name is Wannabe Reviewer, and I will catch you guys next time.